WarioWare Move It is out, and wanting to make a WarioWare-themed video, I had the idea of ranking all 222 microgames in WarioWare Get It Together. But that video is taking a while. Get It Together has become one of my most played Switch games, and I'm still recording footage of the microgames. Since that's gonna take a while, and since I've been playing so much WarioWare, I thought it'd be fun to do a smaller video ranking the characters. So, hi there! I'm a guy with a pineapple puppy, and today, I'm ranking all the characters from worst to best in WarioWare Get It Together. Let's get rolling! I feel like everyone unanimously agrees that Nvol is the worst character, and yeah, that kinda makes sense. Nvol is riding on a skateboard that is always moving back and forth. You can press the A button and he'll shoot his yo-yo into the air, allowing you to hit items. Since he can't really move vertically, some levels will have rings he can grab, allowing him to grapple on. These grapple rings are the only time you can control where he moves, as you can choose which way he begins moving once you let go. And that's mainly the reason Nvol is the worst character. Most of the time, this is just a character you cannot control. There have been microgames where I missed hitting something, and because he started moving away from the target, I lost the microgame. The cool thing about the characters in Get It Together is that they all play differently, but they all work for each microgame. And this is a character where some microgames have to be changed entirely for the game to work. I don't think he's a terrible character. In fact, I don't think this game has any terrible characters overall, but he's definitely the worst. Moving on to another Volt, we have 18V, the only character who can't move at all. Instead, he can shoot CDs, which you aim with the control stick and fire with A. This is also another character to utilize the grappling rings, meaning he also shares the same issue that 9V had about microgames, where some have to be changed in order to work with specific characters. The whole shooting thing isn't that great too, because so many microgames will just have you button mashing. Also, the whole not moving thing does kinda put him under other characters. I put him ahead of 9V because he's easier to control, but still not the best character. The first character who freely moves, and the first one I feel like people may disagree with me on, Pororo has a super long tongue that can bounce off walls to hit certain objects. Like I said earlier, he freely moves, but he also cannot move vertically, meaning he also uses the grappling rings. Putting all three characters that use the grappling rings at the bottom was not intentional, so I guess it just may be something I didn't even notice I wasn't a huge fan of. Because the reason I put Pororo so low wasn't because of the rings, it was because of his tongue. Which may just be a me thing. Since Pororo shoots his tongue at an angle, it can make it hard in certain microgames to hit certain objects. I'm sure this is a character that could probably be mastered, but I'm just putting him here for now. This is another one I feel like is going to confuse people, especially since Cricket is much higher than his master. Mantis is basically just Cricket, who's pretty much just your basic 2D platformer character. He can run freely and jump. The difference with Mantis is that Mantis can jump and walk upside down on the ceiling. You think that him being a version of another character with an extra ability would make him better, but I'm not the hugest fan. First of all, besides the twin characters, this is the only character that really just feels like a copy and paste of another character. All the flying characters feel different, all the characters that can't fly feel different, they all feel unique from each other. And then you have Mantis, making him just another version of Cricket, only with him being able to walk upside down. Which, second of all, doesn't feel much like a pro to me. If anything, it kinda sucks, because there aren't that many microgames where walking on the ceiling is gonna significantly help you out. There are some, but not a lot. And most of the time, I end up jumping on the ceiling by accident, making it more annoying to me than anything. If you like Mantis better, then don't let me ruin him for you, but yeah, not a huge fan. Okay, if this list was based off just how much I like the character, Penny would be much higher. But since we're basing it off how she plays, she's down here. Penny is probably the most complicated character in the entire game. She has a water blaster which you can control by tilting the control stick. The recoil from the water will move Penny in the opposite direction of wherever you're aiming. By pressing A, Penny will hover, allowing her to stay in place and allowing you to shoot water wherever. One thing I also love about Penny is since she has a water blaster, certain microgames that involve water can be totally cheesed with Penny. For example, the one where you have to give water to the dog by moving his tongue, Penny can just shoot the water into the dog's mouth. Or the one where you have to put out the fire using water from the statue? Penny's water blaster can put it out. That is so cool. Anyway, Penny is not at all a bad character. She's a bit complicated and can be a bit difficult at times, and most of the characters ahead control much easier than her, but she is definitely a fun one. Cat and Anna are twin characters, so I'll be talking about both of them here. Technically, I only played as Cat since Anna is only available through 2-player, but since they play exactly the same, it's probably fine. Cat and Anna are always jumping, but you can move them left to right. They throw ninja stars straight ahead. However, Cat only throws hers to the right, while Anna only throws hers to the left. While their jumping can be annoying, I never found it to be as irritating as 9Vol's non-stop moving. I also put them ahead of Penny simply because I found them easier to control. Penny takes a while to get the hang of. These two are pretty fun though. Dribble and Spits are the other pair of twin characters. They both are also the first characters on this list that can fly, so they move in any direction you move the stick. Like Cat and Anna, Dribble only fires to the right and Spits only shoots to the left, and Spits can only be used in 2-player. Putting the two twin characters next to each other was also not intentional, whoops. Anyway, they're okay. Nothing that makes them stand out from the other characters that fly, and the only firing in one direction thing makes them the worst flying characters out of the bunch. Dr. Krygor is kind of a flying character. He does more of a swim through the air thing by holding A and steering him with the control stick. Control-wise, he works pretty well. I don't have anything bad to say about him, but nothing amazing to say either. This is kinda just a character that moves, and that's it. Lulu is a flying character. By holding A, she can fly upwards, and she also has a powerful ground pound, which is really useful. While her flying maybe isn't as smooth as the other characters that fly, she's still a fantastic character. She's really fun to play as, and honestly, I wish more characters had a ground pound. She's the only one, and it comes really handy in certain microgames. Red can freely fly and has the ability of dropping bombs. These bombs only fall, so there's no aiming them or anything. Also, out of all the characters that have the ability to shoot projectiles, I believe Red is the slowest. Every other character will fire the second you hit the button, while Red takes a sec to get a new bomb. Not a huge setback or anything, he's a totally fine character, but there are better characters that fly. Also, when it comes to the projectiles, it feels like having them go straight down isn't as helpful as the characters who shoot straight up or to the side. I originally had him lower, but I ended up moving him up, because despite the direction of the bombs and being the slowest projectile, the bombs are pretty useful. You can even use the blast of the bombs to help you move stuff, which is pretty cool. If Red could shoot the bombs in any other direction, he would be much higher for me. 5Volt for me was the hardest character to rank. At one point she was second to last, at another she was second place. I ended up putting her here, but I'll explain why she was so hard to rank after I explain how she works. Actually, I'm not sure how to describe this. What is that? She's asleep, so I assumed it was like her dream form or something, but this part of the game calls it her out-of-body anger, and this part calls it her spirit. I'm just gonna go with spirit, I guess. Anyway, you can control where 5Volt's spirit goes, and by pressing A, she'll teleport there, which also has a bit of a blast. The reason it was so hard to rank her is because some minigames are made trickier by her movements, like ones with swinging or spinning something, or games about precision. While other games are so easy, it feels kind of unfair. If there is a microgame about getting to a certain spot, considering you have a character that can teleport, it's super simple. Yeah, she can't teleport everywhere, but it still made her hard to rank. So I ended up putting her here. Her controls are really unique, and she's another character I feel like can be mastered. Like if I spent some more time playing as her, I could get really good, but for right now, I'm putting her here. Jimmy T is another free-moving character who uses the power of his hip thrusts to move and attack. He's very fun to control, and the fact that his movement also doubles as an attack is really nice. Kinda like a Wario who can dash in any direction. That's something Krygor could have used, a good attack move or a dash or something. Anyway, yeah, Jimmy T is great. Cricket is literally just a basic 2D platformer character. He can run and jump. Super simple to control, but he works well. A lot of the mini-games in Get It Together are kinda platformer-ish, and there's some that are literally just platformers, so he's a good character to have in the game. Mike is a free-flying character who can only shoot upwards. Unlike Red, his projectiles can be shot much faster, and shooting upwards definitely comes more in handy than shooting downwards. Being stuck in one direction is still a bit unfortunate, but he's a good character to play as. Mona is another flying character. She's riding on a scooter that is always moving. You cannot stop Mona from moving when controlling her, but you can fully control which direction she goes. She also has the best projectile in the whole game, her boomerang. When you throw her boomerang, Mona stops and you are now in full control over her boomerang, which behaves the same as Mona. You can't stop the boomerang, but you have full control over the direction. Mona is such a fun character to control that the whole she doesn't stop moving thing has never really been an issue for me in the same way that Cat, Anna, or 9Vol's moving do. Definitely one of my favorites. The big W himself. Wario is wearing a jetpack allowing him to freely fly around, and with his strength, he can attack with a powerful shoulder dash. Although he can fly in any direction, he can only face left or right, so that's where his dashes are faced. As the first character you play as, Wario is definitely a good one. Easy to control and great for most microgames. Ashley can fly in any direction on her broomstick, and have a fast shooting projectile that she can launch in any direction, making her great for almost every microgame. In fact, Get It Together has a feature that can tell you how good of a fit a character is for a certain microgame, and Ashley has no microgames that have her as a bad fit, showing how great of a character she is. And I'm not just saying that because she said if I didn't, she would turn me into a frog. She actually was in first place until I started recording footage. Then I realized... The character I think is the absolute best in Get It Together is Orbeon. Orbeon is an alien in a spaceship, making him a free-flying character. You can use the beam of his spaceship to suck up objects by holding A. Not gonna lie, the beam is kinda overpowered. There's some microgames that are totally cheesed because of Orbeon's beam. In fact, Orbeon is the character with the most microgames, giving him a best fit ranking. Some people might say it's just a downwards projectile making Orbeon similar to Red, but those people are wrong because the ability of the beam to suck up things is much cooler and is much more helpful in certain microgames than Red's bombs. And also the beam kinda acts like an infinite projectile in certain microgames, which again is pretty OP. What do you think? Am I absolutely wrong and you think that 13 Amp is the best character? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, no matter how weird you are, you'll never be as weird as a guy with a pineapple puppy. So, I'm gonna go work on that all microgames ranked video, and hopefully I won't run into Ashley. She's gonna be so mad that I moved her down the second. She's right behind me, isn't she?